to humanity. So I'd like to thank you for being soldiers and commanders and all of it on behalf of our civilization, our democracy, and our civic society. With that, I'd like to ask my friend Bill Kellen to say a few words, and then we'll go to the real occasion you're here to honor you with prizes and then lift your spirit with all kinds of liquor. For the first time, we've gone overboard in order to spirit, because man shall not live by bread alone, but also by spirit too. Okay.
Thank you, Vartan. Good evening. It's a privilege and a joy to be with you this evening. In being here, I violate one of my life rules that I have managed to avoid violating across a very long life, which is never speak after Vartan Gregorian. I'm very delighted that he Xeroxed this speech rather than deliver it. I would have followed the example years ago of Elvis Presley, who was at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas early in his career. And he was sitting at a table, and the act performing was Billy Ward and his Dominoes. And the lead singer for Billy Ward in those days was the great tenor Jackie Wilson. And they performed Love Me Tender. And Elvis describes going down to his hands and knees and crawling out of the auditorium so no one would see him and ask him for his version. So I am humbled to be speaking after my dear good friend Vartan, and delighted to be speaking to you. It's been an interesting few months since July for those of us committed to the importance of public libraries. The notorious Forbes opinion piece by Panos Mordukoutas, in which he called for the replacement of libraries by Amazon, Netflix, and Starbucks, great relief for local taxpayers, ignited a firestorm of response. Editorials, op-eds, blogs, podcasts, trade publications rallied to defend public libraries. Editorials abounded everywhere. The many arguments advanced in that defense included the importance of public space libraries provide in an age of privatization, their role as agents of communal cohesion, their efficacy in addressing social inequity by providing access and opportunity to the poor, to new immigrants, to the aged, the dispossessed, and the isolated, their capacity to overcome the corrosive partisanship that plagues our time. In short, within this discourse, public libraries have been cast as the bastions of the democratic ideal. The outrage directed at Mordukoutas in these short form documents has been sustained, as you know, extended by other longer arguments in books such as Eric Kleinenberg's Palace as the People and Susan Orlean's The Library book. As easy a target as Mordukoutas is to deflate, these defenses ring true, certainly to those of us gathered here this evening. Oh.
I have your attention, please. We're conducting a test of the fire alarm system. Please disregard all speakers.
Please disregard all speakers. Well, you know, I suspect you've already done that. But for those of you who haven't, I will continue. I was simply saying that that's a kind of cardboard argument that was easy to knock down, as I think we all know. But the defenses themselves, and reading them so broadly, constituted, at least to my eye, an illuminating vision for the times in which we live, a period in which any point of light, never mind 1,000, is welcome indeed. But rather than embellishing upon these apologia pro bibliotheca, I'd like to offer two modest interventions in that discourse. First, all of the remarkable aspects of public libraries that this defense has mustered are true, but they're hardly new. We've been in this business a very long time, my friends. Within the United States, one thinks of similar arguments advanced by Benjamin Franklin in his autobiography, or more recently, given and appropriately given our venue this evening, Andrew Carnegie's famous observation that a library outranks any other one thing a community can do to benefit its people. It is a never-failing stream in a desert. But of course, arguments about the necessity of libraries extend far beyond our shores to Alexandria and beyond. That history will be familiar to all of you. For me, it's best encapsulated in Alberto Mangel's magisterial book, The Library at Night, which I urge upon you if you haven't read it. My point is not that the contemporary defense of libraries has a long lineage, it does, but that closely read, those arguments are calls to arms, not simply celebrations and self-referential defenses. Libraries in general, and public libraries in particular, have always been sites of contestation. Sometimes the struggle is against tyranny. Witness the assaults on libraries in Syria, Iraq, Mali, elsewhere. Sometimes the threat involves resource allocation, the all too familiar austerity budget that has caused issues and difficulties, challenges for all of us. More often, the culprit is indifference, a failure to recognize and nurture the critical functions libraries enact. Think, for example, of the tragic conflagration of the Natural History Museum, the National Museum in Rio, seeing those photos of that extraordinary institution engulfed in flames and with it all of its archives, and knowing that for decades librarians had been calling attention to the neglect that that library had experienced, should be a call for all of us. In truth, our mission has always been, is always imperiled, always vulnerable. So celebrate for sure, but know that the struggle must continue. I cite Vartan's line, "You are soldiers in the army of civilization." It's not easy, but it's essential. My second intervention, and the more important one in the context of tonight's ceremony, is that most of the rosters of libraries value their capacity to level the playing field, to preserve public space, to sustain the life of the mind, to render essential social services, are almost always framed as abstractions. Wonderful, praiseworthy work, all of that. But for me, these accounts inevitably call to mind an observation of the great Welsh social and literary critic Raymond Williams, who is as close to a saint in my pantheon as I have, writing about 17th and 18th century country house poems, most notably the remarkable Andrew Marvell 1651 poem Upon Appleton House. Williams describes Marvell's celebration of the pleasures of this rural retreat as a poem about the self-yielding earth. He points to the poem's invocation of an intensely cultivated landscape with no suggestion of the labor or the laborers who have created it. Following Williams, I would argue that what's missing in these paeans to libraries are librarians, the generators of the values we celebrate. Think for a moment of the series that the TLS runs periodically, sometimes every year, sometimes every couple of years, in which they ask famous people to talk about their favorite or best experience in a library. And sometimes people will mention a particular collection or a particular library or a particular room, but most often they mention librarians, the librarians who have changed their lives, not by opening doors, stacking shelves, placing orders, answering questions, but by making a more broadly imagined impact. Librarians are the agents not of particular services, but of an ethos of service. They meet patrons where they are and help them advance to another level of comprehension in their lifetime journey towards self-awareness. It's a remarkable gift. It is a professional gift. If we think of the etymological root of professor or profession, it comes from the Latin profitere, which means to declare your values and to live them. It has a religious origin, of course, but we are professionals, and we are professionals in an ethos of service. We declare and live our values by providing that service that enables the elevation of individual consciousness. It's a remarkable gift that librarians extend, one we celebrate this evening, and it is a privilege and a joy to salute all of you, both the winners tonight and all of your colleagues whom you represent. Thank you very much.
Now we have a great leader of American Library Association, Loida Garcia-Febo. Did I pronounce correctly? Very good. Okay, I passed the test. It's my delight that all these years we've been collaborating together. I forgot also to mention one plea I have for association to raise the status of your annual awards, because you've designated some of us as a lifelong member or something of American Library Association, the highest distinction. But nobody knows its highest distinction. I thought you were retiring me, so call me. So try to make a big occasion out of it, because you have many people you have designated, but you never ask them to do anything for you. So I'm the only one who's trying to do something for American Library Association. So I'm proud to be a member of it, and I'd like to welcome you as new president, and you'll be followed by Jim Neal, your predecessor. So I'm glad at least today there's one male participant, because otherwise the entire domain is female, and I'm very proud of it, because at Carnegie Corporation, out of 75 people, we have 67 or 64 of them are women, because they're harder worker, smarter sometimes than all of us. So come that note. Did I do all right?
Thank you, Dr. Vartan Gregorian, and thank you, William Kelly, as well. It's an honor to be here with you at Carnegie Corporation of New York tonight. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this wonderful celebration. I am Loida, 2 syllables, Garcia-Febo, President of the American Library Association. I will be presenting tonight's awards alongside Jim Neal, immediate past president of the American Library Association, and chair of the I Love My Librarian Award Selection Committee, Jim. On behalf of the ALA Executive Board, library workers, and library advocates nationwide, thank you to the Carnegie Corporation of New York, the New York Public Library. I'm trying to identify my colleague from the New York Public Library, and the New York Times for your continued support of this important award. I would also like to acknowledge our many wonderful guests here this evening, including leaders from the local library community, current and former ALA Executive Board members, and Mary Gikas, the Executive Director of the American Library Association. Where is Mary? Okay, Mary's there. Finally, I would like also to acknowledge the members of the 2018 I Love My Librarian Selection Committee. And they are Jim Neal, immediate past president of the American Library Association and chair of the selection committee; Karel Matute, acting chief branch library officer of the New York Public Library. Okay, back there. Cheryl at Middleton, past president of the Association of College and Research Libraries; Stephen Yates, past president of the American Association of School Librarians; and Monique Lecongue Sissingham, president of the Public Library Association. Thank you for your hard work and insight. Just 2 months ago, we started with a pool of more than 1,000 nominations. Thanks to the selection committee's dedication, we now have 10 exceptional winners joining us tonight. Over the past decade, only 110 out of our nation's more than 190,000 librarians have been honored with the I Love My Librarian Award. I'm thrilled to introduce to you our newest group of winners, all of whom have built strong communities in their libraries, towns, schools, and campuses. Our winners have built community through innovation, creatively transforming their library spaces, resources, and services to bring people together in our changing world. Our winners have built community through inclusivity, promoting access to traditionally underserved populations, including immigrants, refugees, low-income families, people of color, the LGBTQI community, and people with disabilities. At the libraries, they've cultivated spaces where people of all backgrounds can feel they belong. To our 10 winners, your stories show us the power of librarians to strengthen and transform communities. We thank you for your dedication, expertise, and compassion. So now, without further ado, let's meet our winners. In the words of her nominator, Jeanne Blackson is the colleague everyone wishes they could have. Due to her kindness, knowledge, and deep commitment to service, Jeanne has become an invaluable resource for instructors and learners alike at Central Washington University. She has a talent for bringing people together. Her idea to serve students late-night waffles in the library during finals week has transformed into a beloved annual tradition for students, faculty, and staff. Jeanne has worked to make sure all members of the university community feel welcomed and supported. From fighting to include cultural diverse materials in the library and instruction to creating a family study space for faculty and students with young children. Congratulations, Jeanne.
I'm the first one, so I'm going to time myself and not go long. It is a truth universally acknowledged that I love libraries and must always be in want of a good book. I come from a culture steeped in rich oral traditions and a family that are amazing storytellers. Growing up on my grandparents' rural Appalachian tobacco farm, books were my transport beyond the mountains of my youth. And libraries have always had a transforming influence in my life. My love of all things bibliographic began in first grade. Inspired by our first trip to the library, I came home, took the masking tape and markers, and gave every book in the house a call number. I was the first one to run to the bookmobile when it came across the ridge. And after my brothers taught me to read, I pretty much sat with a book all the time. I am thankful that my mother signed permission slips so that I could access the restricted section of my high school library. I have learned so much from libraries and librarians. From the University of Kentucky librarians who were my work study supervisor, I learned that librarians can be a bit odd and bad to the bone. I've learned how to shame a city council into keeping a library open and how to work with the community to close a 127-year-old collection. I am so lucky to have two brothers and their families here, my spouse, who is also an awesome librarian, and the people of the James E. Brooks Library who are willing to do things like cook waffles during finals week, which if we were there now, they're serving waffles right now, to do band book celebrations at the farmers market, and to do musical story times for our students. And more importantly, that we work hard to make sure that the Brooks Library has a space for everyone's story and everyone's need to learn. Thank you.
Fantastic. Joy Bridwell's devotion to her community and to librarianship shines through her work at Stone Child College on the Rocky Boy Indian Reservation. She is dedicated to instruction and mentorship. The to the point that former SCC students still contact her when they need help with research. With creativity, enthusiasm, and resourcefulness, Joy has developed popular programs to bring together students and members of the larger community and promote literacy. She also serves her community through her work with the library's tribal archive, often partnering with local elders to add and create Cree language materials to the collection. As her nominator writes, her services extend to beyond the walls of the Stonechild College Library. Congratulations, Joy.
Joy Bridwell nisi kasun, asani watsi sik Montana ni weekend, ni mi waitin oma, kamigu wayon, atamit, kisi mantu, kisi way chita suyan, kitatamian. My name is Joy Bridwell. I am from Rocky Boy, Montana. I am a proud member of the Chippewa Cree tribe. I am very pleased and honored to be here with all of you today. I love my library, and I love my job, and I love my community, and that is why I do all the things that I do for them. I want to thank my mother, who took me to my first library when I was 4 years old and just installed in me this amazing love of books, and I wanted to bring that back to my tribal community. And so I was very lucky that past presidents and our current president, Corey Sangre-Billy, has supported me in all of my actions in the library. I'm very proud of my community who are welcome in our library all the time. We serve as an academic public library on our reservation, and I just want to continue to serve them and know that they are welcome in our library. Thank you.
Tamara Cox's work at Wren High School is a testament to the power of partnership. She builds bridges between students, teachers, families, and even community organizations and other schools in order to best serve her community. She collaborates with the local middle school to sign Rising Freshmen Up for new student book clubs. She connects with families by making phone calls fun, praising students' hard work. She even works with the County Election Commission to bring voting booths into school for a state book award contest, giving students a taste of civic engagement and familiarizing them with the voting process. She shows us what's possible when communities work together to promote reading and information literacy. Congratulations, Tamara.
Stories shape lives and change our world. This is a fact I see in the library every day, because I have the best job, so I get to see that in action. My job as a school librarian is to share stories with my students, stories that will make them think, ask questions, become more empathetic, informed, and aware, stories that will encourage them to take action and make a positive change in the world. I use stories to connect with my students and open the door for them to share with me. I believe there isn't a student you wouldn't love if you could read their story. It's important that we share our stories as librarians, which is why receiving this award is so special. I'm honored to hear about each of you and what you contribute to librarianship, and it's an honor to share my own story so that we can celebrate the power of libraries together. Thanks to my family, my husband who is here, my children Jameson and Piper for teaching me that every student is somebody's baby, my Wren High students and staff, all of Anderson District 1, and the school librarians that face so many obstacles but show up every day and serve our students and fight for what they need. Thank you to the Carnegie Corporation, the New York Public Library, the New York Times, and the American Library Association for making librarians feel special today and every day.
Nancy Danielle has made an undeniable impact on Western Piedmont Community College students, faculty, staff, and the larger local community. Nancy's aptitude for teaching has made her an invaluable partner in the learning process. Instructors are awed by her capacity to connect with and energize students about research and citations. Nancy is also deeply committed to making the library an inclusive community space that meets the needs of all on campus. During exam periods, she sets up a stress relief coloring sheets, poppable bubble wrap, and candy to promote student well-being. And she also works with college staff to keep a cart stocked in the library with non-perishable food and toiletries for low-income students. Her dedication and compassion are truly felt by all over campus. Congratulations, Nancy.
This is amazing. Thank you all so much. I'm so honored to be included in this group of librarians. You guys are awesome. This is all due to my wonderful co-workers at Western Piedmont Community College and at our Library Academic Success Center. I work with the best, and they make going to work every day a real pleasure. One of my co-workers, Lisa Bonney, is the whole reason I'm getting this reward. She nominated me. She made me look good. And I'm really glad she got to travel here with me. I started my career in librarianship about 22 years ago. I went from the public library to the community library, and it has all been extremely rewarding. I grew up going to the public library, and you know, where else can you find such treasures? It's such a magical place. I remember my brother telling me when we were younger about the Library of Alexandria, and I told him, ooh, I want to go see that when I grow up. And he told me it was destroyed and it no longer existed, and I actually started crying. I'm sure you can all relate. Okay, I want to share my favorite quote with you. I would love to cite it. I'm real big on citations, but I did research and I couldn't find out who originally created it, but here it goes. This is a library, crossroads of civilization, refuge of all the arts against the ravages of time, armory of fearless truth against whispering rumor, incessant trumpet of trade. From this place, words may fly abroad, not to perish in digital waves, but fixed in time, not corrupted by the hurrying hand, but verified proof. Friend, you stand on sacred ground. I wish I could give credit, but y'all have to let me know if you know who said it. Being a librarian is an honor. Excuse me. I love being able to help our students and our faculty. I love helping them find what they need, whether it's research or just a really good book to read, or maybe sometimes they just need a hug. And one of my favorite things is seeing our students walk across that stage and getting their diploma and thinking, yeah, I played a small part in that. So we have such a noble profession. I know that's very cheesy, but it's so true. Thank you very much.
In the words of her nominator, Jennifer Birth-Gator is set apart by her unwavering belief in her students' ability to achieve. At Baltimore City College, she coordinates the extended essay portion of the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program, a rigorous process of research, writing, and revision. She is dedicated to inspiring students, particularly those from underrepresented backgrounds, to take on this challenge. If students need extra help, she meets them at cafes in the evening, on weekends, and over breaks. In 4 years, she helped increase the number of students passing the extended essay from 28 to 109. with minority students seeing the most growth. One student remarked, "I wish I could take her to college with me, but I know I can rely on the confidence she helped me to gain." Congratulations, Jennifer.
Wow. My husband told me that I should write this in advance, and I didn't. So it's exciting that it's being recorded the one time that I'm wrong and you're right, so this is good for us. Anyway, thank you for this award, and thank you for my husband for all the late nights that he took care of the kids. Way more understanding than I would have been. I think my principle for creating an environment where I had the freedom to be able to create a program to help the students. Thanks the IB program, because for creating the extended essay, which is an amazing way for students to get skills they need for college. I thank the person Monica, who put everything together to nominate me. The Bezos Scholar Program, which I did, which I recommend. It really helped make me realize that I can expand my reach outside of the four walls of the school. And mainly the students who make reading about genocides and world wars and all day, starting at 6 a.m., fun, because they're really amazing, and I love my job. So I'm fortunate, I did write this last sentence down, to spend my time where my passions and talents meet a need. And my hope for all libraries is that they can serve as a place to make sure that every student also has the opportunity to live a life where their passions and talents meet.
I really wanted to be here this evening. 1 week ago, I was in the intensive care section of Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, but I insisted to my wife that she get me out of the hospital, and I harassed her over the last 2 days to allow me to come and spend time with you, because this is such an extraordinary and such an important event. I'd like to echo one of the things that Loida mentioned earlier. Over 1,200 individuals were nominated for the award this year. 1,200. And 10 individuals rose to the top because of the members of their community who spoke to their passion, their professionalism, and the impact that they have in the communities that they serve. And I think that's a real testimonial to them, but also to the role that we as librarians play across this country. I remember the calls that I made to each of the individuals. That's one of the privileges of being the chair of the committee. It was quite an experience. I won't call anyone out, but I'll give you 2 examples. One person responded, "No, this is a scam, right? Yeah." They didn't believe me that I was actually calling them. Another person said, "I can't talk to you right now. Can you call me back later?" But we connected, and it was a wonderful experience, letting them know that they have been selected for this award. Terry Gallagher's nominators describe her as a true leader and a heart of the Community College of Beaver County Library. Her creative programming, resourceful leadership, and warm and open personality have made her an engaging presence on campus. She's assisting non-traditional students with research one-on-one, holding a Game of Thrones themed freshman library orientation. Terry is dedicated to outreach, both to the college's students, faculty, and staff, as well as to members of the broader local community, from helping county residents with their job searches to collaborating with nearby public service agencies to host STEM events for underserved youth. Congratulations, Terry.
Thank you. Thank you so much. First, I want to thank everyone who made this possible. Heartfelt thanks. I do want to apologize to James Neal because when we spoke, he had to convince me by saying, "No, Terry, this is not fake news." So truly, I'm bowled over, touched to the soul, and humbled by the I Love My Librarian Award. We are a dual-use library at the Community College of Beaver County, an academic and public library, the best of both worlds, and I'm so blessed to be part of the lives of our CCBC students, our public, our stellar library staff and college staff, faculty, campus, and the Beaver County Library System and community. The people who come through our doors inspire and move me daily. The former mill worker, father of two, who is now in nursing school, the widowed mother of three who started her studies at CCBC and now is a faculty member teaching other first-gen students, and the veteran who shares his uneasiness and creative writing, and the many students who work the night shifts so they can carry a full credit load and keep on going. That they are heroes, that I am recognized by them is daunting to me. I am privileged to be the librarian who loves them back exponentially. One more thing, my background is journalism, and I got into librarianship later. I was drafted by my hometown librarian who told me I was a librarian. I wanted to tell you now that that librarian oversees the Carnegie branch in a Pittsburgh neighborhood called Squirrel Hill, home to the Tree of Life Synagogue. Her library is a center of healing right now. And I wanted to mention that that's what we are. Libraries are a community's heart, and being a librarian is a gift. Thank you. Thank you to my family and friends in Beaver County.
Stephanie Hartwell Mandela has transformed Katona Village Library into an essential community hub for local families. Thanks to her exuberant spirit, musical talent, and penchant for costumes, families describe Stephanie's story times as truly magical. She finds opportunities for learning and joy in very unexpected places, like her guardianship of Tina, the library's pet turtle. Through Tina, Stephanie teaches about science and nature, as well as modeling how to care for and respect another living being. Stephanie also champions inclusivity, developing collections and programs that celebrate diversity and stand against intolerance. As her nominator writes, Stephanie is a model of community leadership, offering a vision of what is possible when a librarian leads with love and the community responds in kind. Congratulations, Stephanie.
Thank you very much. We joked earlier about being misty-eyed and crying, and I've been sitting over there listening to your stories, getting all emotional. When I told my mom I was going back to school to become a librarian, she said, "Stephanie, why do you want to be one of those women?" Hi, Mom. I said, "What do you mean, those women?" She said, "Stephanie, they're prickly, they're cold, they're not very nice. Actually, they're mean." She says, "I can't imagine you being around that all day." And I, as I was thinking about what I was going to say, I was thinking about that story, and I said, obviously her experience with libraries and librarians and my experience with libraries and librarians were vastly different. As a child, I would sit on the floor and go through the card catalog forever, and the librarians would go around me. I didn't have my library card, and I would check out the Eagles' Desperado album, yay, repeatedly, and they didn't care. And when I was in 5th grade, and I checked out the world-famous American novel C.B. Baby, and I took that blue-covered paperback with the scantily clad woman on the front with the CB mic, and she's sitting in the cab of the 18-wheeler looking very seductively out at her audience, and I slid it across the circ desk, and the librarian checked it out and didn't bat an eye, although I think she giggled when I walked away. Fast forward to 2011, and I'm at Katona Village Library, and a patron walks in. It's my first day, and I say, "Hi, can I help you?" And they look at me kind of funny, and they say no, and they walk away. Unbeknownst to me, that day they had given a check, a donation for the library, a nice donation, and in the memo box they wrote, "Thank you for making the children's room nice again." All this to say, not to criticize librarians, old school librarians, whatever. All to say that I have learned from my colleagues, mentors, and from personal experience that libraries are not about the building, and we've heard that repeatedly tonight. Libraries are about the people in the building, the librarians and the patrons, and the relationships that we form in the community. It's about empathy and about compassion and about meeting our community's needs. Squirrel Hill, that's a classic example. I've heard lots of examples tonight. So thank you very much. Thank you, Katona, and I'm very humbled. And Mom, yeah, I'm one of those women.
Paula Kelly's service to immigrants and refugees at Pittsburgh's Whitehall Public Library is an inspiring example of how libraries promote equity and inclusion. Each month, she sends a bus to pick up immigrant families from their homes and brings them to the library, where they can peruse curated materials and connect with each other. For many displaced Bhutanese families, especially the elders, these trips are essential opportunities to engage with their community and avoid social isolation. Paula has also partnered with local organizations and artists in creating a book project, preserving refugee stories from their homelands, as well as collaborating with the Bhutanese community to develop materials about their culture to educate longtime Pittsburghers about their new neighbors. To quote one of her nominators, "America needs more Paulas." Congratulations.
Thank you all so much. Thank you to all the award sponsors for this amazing opportunity. And thank you to the Whitehall Library Board of Trustees for nominating me. It's such an honor. Like all of the librarians in the room, I honestly feel like I have the best job imaginable because I get to go work at the library. I mean, really. And not just any library, but the Whitehall Library in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's the library I grew up in, the library my mother worked in for 25 years, and the library my father visited for 50 years. And they're smiling down. And I'm so glad that my 2 sons and my future daughter-in-law are here to share this honor with me tonight. It's all very personal and connected to my family. Although I worked at the library for a long while, I didn't get my professional degree until I was 51 years old. So I can't believe the set of life choice circumstances that lead me to this point here tonight. But if there was ever a case in point for karma, this is it. Having grown up in Whitehall, I witnessed firsthand the introduction of a large multi-ethnic resettlement community beginning back in the late 1990s. Whitehall transitioned from a very white, very Catholic middle-class community to a community representing a myriad of cultures and languages. From the beginning, the library was a welcoming space for all, and over the years, we've become a model in many ways with regard to library services for immigrants and refugees. Should I stop for a second? When I became a trained ESL tutor working directly with community members, I was able to better understand what kinds of library services and programs would be the best fit for our ESL community. And over the years, it's been an honor to receive numerous grants and partnering opportunities. Opportunities for English language instruction, citizenship facilitation, early literacy development, and teen reading. Everyone can get to the library because we host that monthly school bus for library visits and special programs. Just imagine what a gift it's been for me to introduce a library to users that have spent the last 20 years living in refugee camps. And then imagine my pride in being able to also explain to them that just like the Whitehall Library, all libraries in this country are free and welcoming to everyone who walks in their doors. I am so proud of this profession, and I'm so honored and proud to represent it among such amazing colleagues. Thank you.
Dr. Linda Robinson. Her nominators describe her as a master teacher, commensurate collaborator, team player, and cheerleader for all of her children. At Mansfield Middle School, Linda Robinson sparks a love of literacy in her students, whether she's connecting them with her certified reading dogs or putting on an immersive celebration themed around the school's One School, One Read selection. Linda knows learning shouldn't stop when the school year ends, so she works tirelessly to keep students engaged over the summer with programs like Books on the Bus, bringing a school bus full of reads for all ages to lower income families who aren't always able to get to the local public library. Linda's efforts have inspired a community of readers across her campus. Congratulations, Linda.
First, I'd like to thank all of the sponsors for not only acknowledging me as a recipient, but also for creating this award and giving a very public and favorable place for us to recognize librarians and our profession, which is awesome. I also feel rather humbled and a little bit overwhelmed by the experience. I'd also like to thank all the members of my school community who nominated me, and in particular Julie Hodgsons, who behind my back created an exceptionally large writing nomination committee unknown to me. I'm very fortunate to work with the school staff and administration that support every idea I come up with, no matter how out of the box it sounds when I first start to talk about it and explain what I want to do. In addition, I'd also like to thank my family and friends for putting up with my very often never-ending stream of projects that usually start small and end up big and over the top. But I'm most thankful for working in a profession that encourages me to find those things I am good at, my own personal strengths, and allow me to do creative things with those strengths to benefit my library community. Ours is not a cookie-cutter profession. Each of us is afforded the opportunity to find our strengths and move our work forward, each in our own unique way. In keeping with the 6 AASL shared foundations, and I am wearing my 20-year pin for AASL, ours is a profession that allows librarians to inquire about how to maximize their own assets, to include all types of folks in our work, to collaborate with others in developing common projects, to curate what we do and how we do it, to explore new challenges or opportunities that arise, and to engage our learners in innovative experiences. Thank you for affording me the professional opportunities to grow and for supporting my learning on my journey that we call a career. I have been working in libraries since I was 12, and I didn't start out thinking I would be a librarian. I was going to be a veterinarian. And when that didn't go so well in college, the counselor said, you know, this library thing you've been doing, maybe you ought to try that and see how it goes. And here I am. Thank you very much.
Through her work with teen advisory boards in La Vista, Nebraska, and Algonquin, Illinois, Lindsay Tomsu has cultivated vibrant communities for young people to learn and grow. Her teenage nominators see her as a role model and a lifelong friend who they can turn to for support even after they go to college. Lindsay is a programming powerhouse whose literary, STEM, and social events have shown hundreds of teens the magic of libraries. She's also an empowering mentor to her advisory board members. As one wrote in Lindsay's nomination, she teaches her teens that they can make the library anything they want it to be. Her efforts have inspired so many in her community to support libraries and even become librarians themselves. Lindsay is not able to join us tonight for this ceremony, so Monique Ziesenhenny, Selection Committee member and President of the Public Library Association, will read Lindsay's remarks.
Good evening to all of you. So I'm just going to read Lindsay's remarks verbatim, and I hope that she's following along tonight, and we congratulate her on receiving this award. I would like to thank my former La Vista, Nebraska Teen Advisory Board teens and 2 of my new Algonquin, Illinois teens for working together to nominate me for this award. I really appreciate their efforts and would not be nominated without their love and support throughout my career. It is vindicating to know the teens I spent years advocating for truly care about me and want to return the favor. I would like to call out these teens who deserve mention. They include Audi Blanen, Kiana Wood, Wenyen Wang, Eric Pham, Sarah Kraber, Becca Russell, Peyton Banks, Haley Christensen, Mary Bergeson, and Maddie Lakeman. Back in 2013, my teens made national news when they worked together to get me named a Library Journal Mover and Shaker. They discovered the I Love My Librarian Award shortly thereafter and have been waiting years for the chance to nominate me, as I did not yet have my degree. I believe it is testament to the impact we have had on each other's lives that my La Vista teens still wanted to nominate me, even though I'm technically not their librarian anymore. As Kiana said when I informed them of my being chosen, it was a privilege being part of Lindsay's teen program and working with her and other great teens over the years. In collaborating with her Algonquin teens on this nomination, we've been able to spread the joy we had in La Vista with Lindsay's new teens in Algonquin. The best remark I received from them, though, is when they asked me, so if the Mover and Shaker is kind of the Oscars of the librarian world, does the ILML count as the People's Choice Award?
Beautiful. Thank you to each one of you for the work you do. The stories are really inspiring. And thank you all for participating in this very special evening. Please join me on a final round of applause for the 2018 I Love My Librarian Award winners. Thank you again, and let us continue the celebration as we head to the reception. And Mr. Vartan with us.
Let me thank all of you from ALA, congratulate all of you, but also to thank my colleagues here who made this possible. Without their help, we could not have. Zoe Ingalls sits here. Where is Greta? Greta? And also members of Office of President who's sitting there. every year. Greta, come here, please. She's very shy, so. And Zoe, you come to here. These are two who made this possible. All right, so thank them. They're the ones who did. Thank you very much.
After that, Lindsay signed at the end.
Okay. Bar is open and there's plenty of food. I know one thing about librarians, they love to eat. So there's plenty of food and plenty to drink. Congratulations also, and thank you very much for your leadership.